Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Routing Box Friday Live. My name is Jonathan Anthon. Hopefully where you are, it is warmer than here. So I'm actually out the road. I'm out in the Rochester area visiting a couple of our customers and friends. So I'm coming to you from the road, and I don't know if you can see it behind me, but it is snowing. It's April. It's snowing a lot. It's really cold. So not much fun here, but good news is we have some really fun stuff to tell you about in Routing Box. So we're really excited to talk today. We have some awesome new features that we want to tell you about that have come out recently. So I am fired up to tell you all about it. Today we're also going to discuss address validations and why they're important. There's some very obvious reasons that address validations are important, but there's also some not so obvious ones. So we're going to talk about that. So again, I'm going to go into some new features first this week. So if you are a Routing Box customer and you're watching these videos, make sure you tell your employees, have them go like our page so they get notified when these videos go live. You want them to know about the new features so that they are using Routing Box to the best of their ability for your business. So make sure you are having them like our page, have them watch these videos. We really want to make sure that we're helping you out. So in terms of new features, a couple things that have come out the last couple weeks that we haven't talked about in the video yet. The first one relates to the assignment suggestion tool. So that's the tool where if you have an empty assignment on a trip, so you haven't given a driver or vehicle that trip yet, if you right click, it'll look at kind of what all your vehicles are tasked with currently, when they'll be done with those tasks. Once they're done, how far away are they from this new trip that you're trying to assign, so that you can see which vehicles can get there most efficiently with the least amount of deadhead driving, and also most quickly, so the quickest ETAs. And those things aren't always the same thing depending on how folks are have their trips distributed. So what we added to that was the ability to turn on a setting that now it can consider live traffic from Google. So if you turn that setting on, when you get that the ETAs and the drive times from those suggestions, it will actually consider traffic for those as well as just the standard mapping. So pretty cool feature. Definitely some of you can use that, especially those of you in cities that have a lot of traffic. It'll really help you be even more accurate with those suggestions. Second new feature we want to talk about. Some of you using Routing Box may have noticed there's an icon towards the top left of your screen. It's a blue background. It's got an orange road going through it. That's actually a menu where you can pop out and you can live chat our team from there. You can submit a ticket. Now you might see a little red circle with an exclamation point in it appearing there. If you see that, that means that there are new releases. So just like we're telling you about the new releases here in these videos, we're going to do it right in the software now as well. So if you see one of those circles, that means that there's a new release that you haven't reviewed yet. So if you click on that road, you'll be able to see the option to see all of the new features that have come out, all the updates that have come out, so that you can review them and see how they might impact your business. As always, if you have any questions about either of those features or the features that you see with the new tool in the application, give us a call, shoot a ticket through the email. You can submit a ticket through the software or that live chat feature in there. All those work. You can also message us on Facebook or comment on these videos. Our phone number, if you wish to call, is 716-202-9121. Again, that's 716-202-9121. So let's talk a little bit about address validation. So what does that mean? So what happens in Routing Box is when you schedule a trip or you assign an address to a specific location or the driver's home address, a park out location it's called, which is where the vehicle is going to start their day, all of those addresses are validated in Routing Box or geocoded, which means that we were able to actually go to a database and figure out exactly what the latitude and longitude of those addresses were. This also happens when you import trips in Routing Box, where it'll check the addresses and try to geocode them and make sure that they are indeed real addresses. Now, the databases that are used, like in Routing Box, for example, we use Microsoft and Google. So two pretty awesome sources. You do have the ability to create custom addresses if you need to as well, but those resources are obviously quite reliable. So that validation is we're confirming that this is a place, and then we're going and getting the actual latitude and longitude of that place. So why is that important? There's a variety of reasons. So the first is the really, really obvious one, right? Where if you're getting a trip and maybe someone misheard what a customer said on the phone, or case manager or broker, Or if you're getting a trip from an import from a broker or an email, and they made a mistake on the address. They said Smith Road instead of Smith Street. They said, 1234 instead of 123. So there's too many digits. Situations like that, obviously, you may be, being sent to a place that doesn't exist. So you distribute that trip to the driver. The driver tries to put it in their GPS, and hey, I can't get there. You can't find it. So what's going on? And when it's time to go get a trip is not the time you want to discover that, because now you're having to do some research, make phone calls, which could cause you to be late for that trip. We want to find this problem ahead of time so that we can identify it. So that's pretty obvious that, we want to make sure these places are real, right? That's critical. But there's some other things that this does for you, and the main one is when it comes to mapping trips. I'm going to kind of move around here so you guys can see the awesome weather. But when it comes to mapping the trips, so again, we're geocoding those trips, and one of the things that allows us to do is map them out and see exactly what the best, or the shortest driving route is, which is how most places want to bill, or we can figure out some other things as well there. But when it comes to billing, we need to see the actual distance of that trip. If the place we're trying to map to isn't real, there's no way to accurately map that trip and see A, the mileage for billing, but B, we talked about that trip suggestion tool. How are we going to suggest an assignment if we don't know where the trip is going to be, right? So all of the computer-assisted tools that you have within your software are relying on having good location information when it comes to estimating the time of the trip, when it comes